For the second season in a row, Hansi Flick's Barcelona are doing the unthinkable. No signings, no luxury reinforcements, just pressure and problems. The shadow of the Negreira case, relentless media attacks, a difficult start that was supposed to expose them, and yet here they are. Stronger, faster, more ruthless than ever. This is a Barcelona that doesn't ask for respect, it takes it. Under Hansi Flick, Barcelona are no longer rebuilding, they are becoming terrifying. Barcelona's first trophy of the season came in the most powerful way possible, against their eternal rivals, Real Madrid. In the Spanish Super Cup final, Hansi Flick's team delivered a 3-2 victory in a night that felt like a complete statement of dominance. From the first whistle to the final minute, Barcelona controlled the game in every detail, dictating the tempo, winning the duels, and imposing their identity across the pitch. Every player showed up, every line was connected, and Madrid were forced to chase shadows. Rafinha was electric, scoring twice and terrorizing the right side all night, while Lewandowski added another goal to remind everyone that this team now has both intensity and killer instinct. It wasn't just a win, it was a performance, one that confirmed Barcelona under Hansi Flick are not just competing anymore, they are taking control. And what makes this victory even more unbelievable is that just 2 months ago, it felt almost impossible. Barcelona were falling. Defeats to Chelsea, defeats to Paris Saint-Germain, even a painful loss to Real Madrid. Their league position had dropped, sitting in second place, and suddenly the narrative changed. The belief disappeared. The outside world started to say it. This team can't compete. This team can't win anything this season. For a moment, even inside the fan base, doubt began to creep in. It felt like the project was slipping away. But to understand how Barcelona returned with this level of force, with this intensity, with this authority, we have to go back. Back to last season. Back to where Hansi Flick's real work began. Last season didn't even begin with Hansi Flick on the bench. It began with Xavi Hernandez, but in a strange twist, everything changed before the project could truly take shape, as Xavi lost belief in the team and openly admitted that Barcelona still needed time to rebuild, time that a club like Barcelona rarely has. And in that exact moment, Hansi Flick stepped in to take charge of a squad with no new signings, limited resources, frustrated players, and almost no expectations. Yet instead of asking for patience or hiding behind excuses, Flick went straight to work. And what followed was nothing short of remarkable, as players who had been marginalized under Xavi suddenly became central figures in his system, led by Rafinha, who transformed from an inconsistent winger into a complete attacking weapon, playing as both a wide forward and a second striker, scoring 34 goals and providing 26 assists in 57 matches, becoming one of the most decisive players in Europe, while young talents like Pau Cubarsí, Alejandro Balde and Gerard Martin were trusted, developed and given real responsibility. And even players who had almost disappeared from the rotation, like Íñigo Martínez, were rebuilt and turned into reliable pillars in defense. And none of this was accidental or based on form. It was the result of structure, clarity, and a coach who understood how to extract maximum intensity from limited tools, as Hansi Flick quietly created the strongest version of Barcelona in years without money, without stars, and without excuses. And slowly, something began to change, not just in results, but in the way Barcelona looked, moved, and believed, because under Hansi Flick, the team stopped playing with fear and started playing with purpose. The pressing became organized, the lines became closer, the transitions became sharper, and suddenly this young, inexperienced squad was competing with an intensity that didn't match its age or resources. Every player knew his role, every movement had meaning, and every match felt like a step forward, even in the difficult moments, even when results didn't go their way. because this time there was a structure holding everything together. And as the weeks passed, the confidence grew, the mistakes reduced, the chemistry improved, and the idea became clear. Barcelona were no longer trying to survive games, they were trying to control them. And that control is exactly what we are seeing today, in a team that looks stronger, braver, and more complete than anyone expected. A team that went from doubt to dominance in a matter of months. And all of it traces back to one decision, one change, one man who walked into chaos and turned it into order, Hansi Flick. And as this new Barcelona identity began to take shape, new stars didn't just appear, they exploded, because among all the players who defined the season, there was one name that simply could not be ignored. Lamine Yamal, the most terrifying version of a teenager European football has seen in years, delivering a genuinely historic season for his age, scoring 18 goals and providing 25 assists in 55 matches, playing with a personality far beyond his years. But the moment that truly defined him came against Inter Milan, where in both the first and second leg he practically carried the team on his back, dictating the tempo, creating chances, breaking lines, and leading the attack as if he was the captain on the pitch, delivering performances that felt unreal, almost unfair. And it didn't stop there, because Yamal showed up in the biggest games, scoring against giants, hurting big teams, including Real Madrid. And speaking of Madrid, this season under Hansi Flick, Barcelona didn't just beat them, they destroyed them, winning 4 times against a side led by none other than Carlo Ancelotti, one of the greatest minds in football history. A humiliation that underlined just how far this team has come and how dangerous Flick's Barcelona have truly become. And the most incredible part of this entire story is that all of this wasn't built on experience, or stars in their prime, or a squad full of veterans. It was built on youth, because this season, Barcelona didn't just compete, they conquered, winning La Liga, lifting the Copa del Rey, and claiming the Spanish Super Cup, completing a domestic treble with a team that is, for the most part, still growing, still learning, still supposed to be in development, yet playing with the maturity, control, and authority of a finished project. A generation that doesn't look like the future anymore, but the present. A group of young players carrying a giant club on their shoulders and delivering trophies like it's normal. And that is exactly what makes this version of Barcelona under Hansi Flick so frightening. Because if this is what they can do while they are still young, imagine what they will become. If we look at this season, it almost seemed easier at first, with Barcelona making a few key signings, including a strong new goalkeeper in Joan Garcia and bringing in a player like Marcus Rashford on loan, who was crucial while Rafinha was sidelined with injury. But even with these reinforcements, the problems quickly piled up. Losing Rafinha was almost impossible to compensate for. Lamine Yamal didn't return to his previous level. And off the pitch, he became distracted, appearing constantly on social media, entangled in personal controversies, issuing bold statements and clashing with teammates, all while the squad struggled to find rhythm. The Negreira case still loomed. Fans feared the season could collapse, and it seemed like everything was falling apart. Hansi Flick, who had led the team to victories over giants like Real Madrid and dominated matches that season, found himself devastated after a 3-1 win over Alaves, realizing that this squad, which used to crush weaker teams and win 5-6 goal margins, was now losing, drawing, and even falling in the Champions League against Chelsea, PSG, and Madrid under their new coach, Xabi Alonso, who was struggling to find solutions. Yet, in the midst of all this chaos, Flick went public, addressing the fans directly, promising, "I assure you, this team will come back stronger than ever," and that promise marked the turning point. Barcelona began to transform, not relying on a single player like Lamine Yamal or Rafinha anymore, but on the collective strength of the squad, building a team that would surpass even last season's remarkable version and proving that no crisis, no absence, and no external pressure could stop their resurgence. And as the season progressed, Barcelona began to prove that Flick's words were not empty promises, because the team started firing on all cylinders, with Ferran Torres scoring 11 goals, Lewandowski adding 9, and both Lamine Yamal and Rafinha contributing 7 each, showing that the squad was no longer reliant on 1 or 2 stars, but thriving as a collective. Meanwhile, their goalkeeper, Joan Garcia, emerged as a true wall, making incredible saves week after week, none more memorable than his performance against his former club Espanyol, where he produced a match that bordered on legendary, keeping Barcelona in control and inspiring the rest of the team to elevate their game. And suddenly, the young, dynamic squad that had struggled earlier was dominating games, creating chances, scoring with precision, and showing fans that the team under Hansi Flick was not just back, it was back stronger, faster, and more fearless than ever. Barcelona now sits at the top of La Liga, a remarkable rise from second place, accumulating 49 points and pulling 4 clear of their eternal rivals Real Madrid. Yet in the Champions League, the situation is still delicate, as they linger around 15th, though their upcoming matches are favourable, giving them a real chance to secure direct qualification to the knockout stages. Despite these challenges, and after everything the team has endured and achieved, they proved once again that they are capable of historic performances when it matters most, by defeating their fiercest rival Real Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup final 3-2. In a match that saw Hansi Flick completely dismantle Xabi Alonso's team. Barcelona dominated in every aspect: attack, defense, midfield, controlling possession, and dictating the tempo with a precision that few could have imagined from this young squad. Against a Real Madrid side stacked with world-class talent like Mbappe, Vinicius, and Rodrigo, Barcelona produced a historic performance, combining discipline, creativity, and sheer determination, ultimately lifting the first trophy of the season and sending a clear message. Under Hansi Flick, this Barcelona is not just back, it is a team capable of rewriting expectations. And so, we can say that Barcelona has already secured its first trophy of the season, overcoming difficulties, injuries, and countless obstacles, and remains the frontrunner in La Liga, looking stronger than ever. But the real prize, the one every team dreams of, is the Champions League, and Barcelona, under Hansi Flick, is a serious contender. This young squad has the chance to reach a dream they've never achieved before. Most of these players have never lifted the trophy, with the exception of Ter Stegen, who won it back in 2015 with the legendary MSN team. Now, it is the youth who carry the hope, who have the chance to make history, and even Flick himself, who has already won the Champions League with Bayern Munich, feels a unique connection to this Barcelona side, driven not just by experience, but by emotion, passion, and belief in the club. The question now is whether Barcelona can overcome all external pressures, focus entirely on the pitch, and seize the most prestigious trophy in European football, while maintaining their form in La Liga and pushing to win everything this season. And the answer is, it doesn't seem impossible. In fact, it feels closer than ever, especially if Lamine Yamal returns to his best form and the squad continues to focus, trust each other, and play with the intensity and unity that has already brought them so far. Trophies dominate rivals and prove that youth, passion, and belief can overcome even the greatest challenges. It is a squad that has learned to fight together, to trust in each other, and to turn pressure into performance. A team where players like Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, Lewandowski, and the young stars like Cubarsí, Balde, and Gerard Martin are no longer supporting roles, but the very heartbeat of a club reborn. Even the goalkeeper, Joan Garcia, has become a symbol of resilience, making saves that inspire, showing that every part of this squad matters when the moment is greatest. They have already lifted the Spanish Super Cup, conquered La Liga, and taken the Copa del Rey, proving that they can dominate at home. But the real test lies ahead in Europe, where the Champions League awaits. The tournament that every young player dreams of, the trophy that only experience and courage can claim. Most of this squad has never won it, and yet they carry the weight of history, hope, and ambition on their shoulders. Flick himself, a man who has already won this trophy, feels the heartbeat of this club more than ever, guiding these players not just with strategy, but with passion and belief, showing that football is more than tactics. It is emotion, leadership, and courage. The journey is not over. The obstacles remain. Injuries, pressure, doubts, and expectations will all challenge them. But if Lamine Yamal returns to his best form, if the players continue to focus and trust one another, if they keep playing with the intensity, creativity, and unity that has carried them this far, there is no limit to what this Barcelona can achieve. This is not just a team, it is a movement, a statement, a promise to fans around the world that greatness is possible even when the odds are stacked against you. And as the season continues, the world watches, because Barcelona under Hansi Flick is no longer just a team. They are a force, a story, and a living proof that with vision, courage, and belief, the impossible can become reality. The trophies they have won are only the beginning. The dreams they chase, the Champions League, more domestic glory, are within reach. And one thing is certain. This is only the beginning of a new era for Barcelona, a team that will not only compete, but inspire, not only play, but dominate, and not only exist, but create history. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe to Go Alato for more amazing football stories.